Hello and welcome again to 10 Minutes USA. I'm Chuck. Let's get started. A few weeks ago, my dad and myself, we went to the Mecum classic car auction they have every year here in Kissimmee, Florida. It's a huge event. It's big. They've got everything from $4 or $5 million cars all the way down to $6,000-$7,000 or less than that. And my father's always been a car guy. He's got a couple of cars and an old truck that's real nice, customed out. Me, I haven't had a nice car in a while. I just got an average daily driver. My car I have now is just the 2009 Grand Marquis, which I love it. It's one of the best cars I ever had as far as durability and problems. It just keeps going and going. But anyway, the other day I was looking at some of my old magazines. I've got a lot of old Mechanics Illustrated. This one here I was looking at, and I noticed that this was from December 1965, and I love the cover. That's when Goldfinger come out, James Bond, and I'm a James Bond fan. Love him. Love the whole series. Well, except for a couple of movies where they were okay. But and on the top it said road report on Dodge's new hot Hemi head engine. And I guess that's when the Hemi come out, about 65 or going into 66. And I open it up, and what is being tested? A 66 Dodge Coronet convertible. I don't know why they gave him a convertible to test, but anyway, with a Hemi. And I loved old Tom McCahill. He wrote for this magazine for many years, and I think it was the only reason the magazine existed as long as it did later on, because he was great. But anyway, he said this. He says anyone buying a new Dodge Coronet with a hemispherical head engine as a family rig for around town use would have to be a full-blown nut. In this writer's opinion, it would be like ordering a 600 Express double-barrel elephant gun for squirrel hunting. This guy, he was a big-time hunter and fisherman, outdoorsman. He said the car was fastest one they have tested so far, 150 mile an hour top speed. He said it'd probably do a little better if it was a hard top, and I agree, because soft tops they start blowing up at high speed, and the aerodynamics get all out of whack. But he said the car was what did he say here? This guy had a good way with words on cars. Oh hell, I can't find it. Hairiest full-size production car ever tested for these pages. This family rig had all the belt of a 2-mile swim in a whiskey vat. That was great. But anyway, I seen this and I said, oh man, I had a 66 Dodge Coronet. Right here. This was me and my grandfather. There's the Coronet. I'm standing, of course. Grandfather's down there. He was a master mechanic. We just pulled out the 273 that was in it. And you can see over there, right there is the 340 that I dropped in, that I bought off a co-worker at a shop. I was working for Midas at the time, and he ended up, and it was a 4-door. But what I did is I built the ultimate sleeper with that car. I was working at I'll zoom this out a little bit. At a Midas muffler shop, and one of the mechanics, he had passed his test to his civil service test to get hired with the post office. He was ex-military, so he says, I'm leaving. So he was building a car. I think it was an old Cuda or Barracuda. He was going to put this engine in. It was down in a cellar, and just a short block was together, and the heads was off and everything. And then he changed his mind. He says, hey. He says, it's a perfect engine to drop in your Coronet. He said, it'll drop right in. I said, well, what do you want for it? He's, give me 200 bucks. It's okay. I mean, I only paid 400, 4 or 500, I think, for the car when I bought it a year earlier. And it was perfect shape, about 60,000 original miles. Some old lady or something owned it. And it run good. But I said, boy, I've dropped this 340 in there. It was a 340, I think it was a 69, 68 engine. I know it had the 202 valve heads, the X heads, because I was a Mopar man in the early days. Still love them. But anyway, the short block was pretty much rebuilt. I rebuilt it, put an intake on it, ordered a purple shaft street Hemi grind right from Mopar, direct connection at the dealer for the camshaft. Put that in. That was recommended by an old ex drag racer that I was working with at the time too, and he says, you'll love it. Put some headers on it and dropped it in, and boy, I estimated the car, it was probably 400 horse, maybe a little better. It was a high winding engine. I mean, it would just tack up like you wouldn't believe. And 3 transmissions later, because it was an automatic, and it didn't have the 727 torque flat. It was a 904, and 2 of the transmissions I had built by a buddy after the first one blew up. Second gear would always blow out. It just shifted so hard, or the engine was just so powerful, it couldn't handle it. Now the rear end, the drive shaft, everything else was bulletproof. 8 3/4 rear end, you can't kill them. And the other thing is, I should have probably put some gears in the rear, but I never did. I think it had maybe 3-to-1s or 294s, you know, with stock gears. But the car was a sleeper. Red light to red light, I beat more Corvettes, Camaros. The car, like my buddy said, he said, man, it looks like a mild-mannered grandma car, but the thing, it gets down the road. I said, yeah, it's fun. But anyway, enough of that. I was going to talk about the prices now of these cars at Mecum. You know, cars, I was looking now, not Hemi-powered cars. Hemi cars, you know, were scarce even back in the day. Most people didn't order a Hemi. They wanted something that got better mileage and more drivability. But still, I was going to buy my buddies just a year out of high school. So that would have been 1981. A good friend of mine, he had a cream puff 70 Chevelle SS, 454, 4-speed, posi rear, you know, the one to have. All original car. The only thing that wasn't original, it had a Holley 4-barrel on it, which was a better carburetor than the stock, and it had headers on it. And nice dual exhaust, I think was a little larger pipe. And I could have bought that car back in '81. It was cream puff for 3,000 bucks. Now they're getting, I don't know, 90, 100,000 for them. It's insanity. The prices are crazy. Another car I was going to buy just before I moved to Florida, guy that worked around the corner from the Midas shop where I was at, he had a 67. He had 4 nice cars, and one of them was a 67 GTX, 440 4-speed, all original car. The paint was a little faded, but straight as an arrow, no rust. Another car I could have bought 3,000, maybe 2,800. I didn't have the money. I was moving to Florida, and I left Rhode Island, and I moved down here with 500 bucks in my pocket, a brand new motorcycle and a trailer, my clothes, and Crazy Sue, the girl that come down here with me. But I couldn't believe the prices they're getting for stuff at these auctions. I think the rich guys have spoiled it, man. It's getting so tough. I mean, you can find these old junkers that are just rusted and rotted out, and you have to totally restore them. But even then, I've looked, they want $8, $9, $10, $12,000 for these things. No engine in them. It's insanity. But anyway, that's my take on this thing, and talking about my old Coronet. And here's the car I drove down. It was a 74 Dodge Charger. Bought off a buddy for 600 bucks and drove that for a few years down here. But anyway, I see the timer's about running out, and these are only 10 minutes. See you in the next one.